board notes issues across the board. YouTube also sent out a tweet saying they were looking into problems with the video platform. Also breaking this morning, the long-awaited coronavirus vaccine is here, and Sanford Health is just a few hours away from giving their first COVID vaccinations. Pfizer has already started shipping across the U.S. by teaming up with FedEx and UPS. The Valley Today's Brian Sherrod joins us live this morning with the details. Good morning, Brian.
And good morning, Lisa. You know, Sanford right here in Fargo and even the one in Bismarck is see the vaccinations later on this morning. And they could actually start the vaccination starting at 1 p.m. So literally sooner than later. Also letting you know that there's been over nearly 3 million Pfizer vaccinations that have been shipped all across the United States. And that's coming from their home base in Michigan. According to North Dakota and Minnesota's Department of Health, healthcare workers and nursing home residents could be the first ones to get the vaccinations. Now, also letting you know that first responders, essential workers, adults with high-risk medical conditions, and older adults could also see the early vaccine. The early vaccine will not be provided to children, only those 18 years or older. 2 doses will be needed for at least the first 2 COVID vaccines. Doses will need to be given at least 3 to 4 weeks apart. This vaccine is only one of ways to stop the spread of this disease. You should still wear a mask, social distance, wash your hands, and stay home if sick. Now in North Dakota, the initial allocation is expected to be over 24,000 Pfizer doses and over 18,000 Moderna doses by the end of December. In Minnesota, over 183,000 doses by the end of December. Initial shipment showing over 46,000 Pfizer doses and 2 Moderna shipments totaling over 136,000. Now this vaccine can be given to you at no cost to you at all.
It is a big day. Thank you so much for that update. Brian Sherrod reporting live. And of course, stay with Valley News Live throughout the day for updates. Now, let's take a look at workers in Pfizer's Michigan headquarters packing up those long-awaited COVID-19 vaccines. The vials are initially stored in the freezer area, where the vaccine is kept at temperatures hovering around minus 94 degrees Fahrenheit. Workers started rolling bins and moving vaccines from the freezer farm into coolers packed with dry ice. From there, the vials are moved onto a belt and packed with even more dry ice until it's moved out to the loading dock. Now, the trucks outside the plant will head to FedEx and UPS hubs around the country to be delivered to 636 predetermined locations across the country. Pfizer, the maker of this vaccine, has confirmed to NBC News that all 50 states will receive some portion of this first round of shipments. And there's a bit of good news out of the North Dakota Health Department regarding the state's COVID cases. Sunday's report showed no new deaths due to the coronavirus. It's the first time that's happened in a 24-hour period since September 20th. The news comes a day when the state confirmed 22 deaths, which increased the statewide death toll from the virus to 1,152. Electors across the country will gather today to cast their votes for president and are expected to formally elect Joe Biden as president. The first states set to vote are Indiana, Tennessee, and Vermont, which will take place this morning. Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania's electors vote at noon, North Dakota at 1 this afternoon, and Wisconsin and Michigan are scheduled to vote later in the afternoon. Biden is expected to deliver remarks on the vote tonight. New this morning, investigators are looking for the cause of a fire in an apartment in South Fargo that killed the renter's cat. It happened around 8 last night in the 2500 block of Villa Drive. Firefighters put out the fire in a first-floor unit and kept the fire from spreading. The unit has heavy damage. A cat found in the unit could not be resuscitated. It is a very cold start to our morning. 7 minutes before 7, let's get a check of that first alert storm team forecast with Lisa Green.
Good morning. Yes, it is chilly out there, and this all comes in the wake of that snow that we had yesterday, a nice little coating of it. And so a couple of things that you're going to have to deal with this morning. If you park outside and didn't go anywhere yesterday, well, you're going to deal with what these vehicles in the lot at the Home of Economy in Grand Forks will have to. And that's just a quick brush of your windshield, get that snow off of your vehicle. The hood's there also covered in a little light coating of snow. So some conditions that have been a little more on the snowy side. And here's a look at our temperatures. Boy, a lot of us reporting some sub-zero numbers. Fargo's just barely clinging on to that 1 degree. It's Grand Forks is at 1 below, and we've got a few more clouds in the heart of the Red River Valley, but there are places that have been clearing out. Fergus Falls is at 2 below. It's 6 below in Bemidji, and Devil's Lake 8 below. Factoring in some wind, those places that do have wind, here's a look at our wind chills. 26 below in Langdon, 29 below in Badette, so getting close to that 30 below range there. That's when we want to certainly take the wind chills even more seriously, because that gets to the point where we're talking about the potential for frostbite. So please make sure you're bundling up and covering up as well. It feels like 13 below in Fargo and 17 below in Grand Forks. Another look at your radar and satellite map. Pretty quiet here in the valley. We've been clearing out. There are some places, again, starting off with a little cloud cover. Bus stop planner. Well, it's cold this morning. We're talking some numbers at or around the 0 degree mark or below it here to start off your day today. Heading home from school. Not much change other than we'll get some sunshine, but temperatures are going to remain quite chilly. We're looking at some teens for highs. And that's in the Southern Valley. If you're in the Northern Valley, we're talking single-digit highs. So wind chills will be a factor throughout the day because of that. It's going to be cold here for the start of our work week. You're just going to want to be ready for it. But we do have some improvements happening this week. A couple of rounds of flurries possible. The first one overnight tonight and into early tomorrow. We'll see temperatures in the 20s for your Tuesday. And then starting Wednesday, back into the low 30s. Definitely more tolerable for December weather to be in that range. So a cold step back today, but it doesn't last long.
Okay, well, layer up today at least. Thank you, Lisa. Bismarck police are looking for 2 men involved in a shooting outside the Lowe's store, which appears to involve a shoplifter. A witness says someone fired a weapon at a vehicle in the parking lot yesterday afternoon. Both suspects were gone by the time police arrived. But after reviewing security camera footage, police say it appears that the shooter was trying to stop a shoplifter. Luckily, no one was hurt. The state of Minnesota has suspended the liquor license of an East Grand Forks business that defied the governor's COVID restriction on dine-in services. The liquor license for the Boardwalk Bar and Grill is now suspended until February 9th. The Boardwalk reopened last Wednesday and has reportedly stayed open since. This led the Minnesota Attorney General to suing the business and filing a temporary restraining order, which then led up to yesterday's liquor license suspension. The business could face an additional 5-year suspension if they reopen while restrictions are in place. Slippery roads got the best of a Fargo man who was hauling a U-Haul trailer in Barnes County. The Highway Patrol says Arthur Kraft was on I-94 near Oriska yesterday morning when he lost control of his vehicle and the trailer started to fishtail. He ended up in the ditch and the pickup rolled over onto its side. Neither he nor his passenger were seriously hurt. And a stretch of I-94 in Otter Tail County is now fully reopened after being shut down thanks to a jackknifed semi. The right lane of the interstate near Fergus Falls was closed for several hours late yesterday afternoon. The crash happened around 4 and it wasn't cleared till just after 7. State troopers say the semi had swerved to avoid a merging vehicle, causing the semi to roll into the ditch. Bars and restaurants across the country are looking for ways to keep their businesses alive amid restrictions put into place during COVID-19. One bar in central Minnesota has found a workaround to the state's executive order banning dine-in service, and they're still keeping their customers on scene. The Pirate's Den in Verndale, Minnesota has set up ice houses outside of the restaurant and is now allowing guests to reserve tables inside. Guests can reserve an ice house for half-hour blocks and eat inside there. There are heaters inside and the houses are insulated to protect them from the winter conditions. One bar in central Minnesota has also found a workaround to the state's executive order of banning that dine-in service by keeping their customers on scene. This is what they're doing to allow customers to still go out to eat.
It's an innovative and creative way to just try to make ends meet until this crazy year is over with, and we move on to bigger and better things.
Creative. The restaurant will be taking ice house reservations again this weekend. Toy donations across the country are down this year, but one group in Fargo is making sure kids in need get something special this holiday season. Members of the Matthews Voice Project collected, wrapped, and sent out toys yesterday afternoon. Hundreds of kids and families from Fargo, West Fargo, and Moorhead were signed up to receive some extra help. Members of the group say that the community has been extremely helpful in a year that many more people are in need.
We have students that have absolutely nothing, and they have access to absolutely nothing, and so we said we have to. We can't not do this. So here we are, and the community came right with us.
If you're wanting to help out, the group is still taking donations. Let's get our answer now to our question of the morning on Facebook. Today's question, it's frowned upon, but nearly 80% of people still do this at work. The answer, use emojis, even if it's a smiley face to the boss. It's a no-no. The Today Show and CBS This Morning are just about to start. But remember, the Valley Today rolls on. You can join us right now for more live, up-to-the-minute news and weather on the Fargo CW.